I did it. I bloody did it. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to start. Hello, welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, you're probably like, well, what is wrong with her? Maybe go back and check out some of my other videos and all will be explained. But basically, I have just completed Ironman Copenhagen in 9 hours and 53 minutes, and I qualified for the Ironman World Championships, and I don't think it has sunk in yet. I really don't think it has. I'm so over the moon. I'm so proud of myself. I didn't expect to qualify for the Ironman World Champs in this race. Like, it kind of wasn't the goal. I booked Ironman Copenhagen to try and beat my time from last year, which was 10 hours 35. So it was my second ever Ironman. I wanted to go in and just try and beat that time, and then October I've got Ironman Portugal booked, and I thought I wanted to try and qualify for Kona at that race. Turns out this was a Kona qualifier. Turns out I qualified. Oh, what the hell. As I always do after all of my races, this is my race review for Ironman Copenhagen 2024, and yeah, sit down, grab yourself a drink, or pause this and go and get on your turbo and do this whilst you're on your turbo doing your long ride, because if you have seen one of my race reviews before, you know that I just like to ramble. I like to tell all the details. That's just who I am. I like a story. We might be here for a while, so go and get on your turbo. So I'm just gonna set this down here just next to my Ironman coin, my World Champs coin. Firstly, I want to start off, I started this YouTube channel probably a year and maybe like 2 years, let's say 2 years ago. I started this YouTube channel to document my first ever Ironman prep leading into Ironman last year, and I always saw it as a way to just like track like my progress and to just have a bit of a video diary of it all, so I can look back at it. And you know, I'm one of those people, I love taking photos. I take photos of everything, of having like memories and videos and all of that sort of stuff, and this was kind of the same, and I wanted to document that. And I'm just me. This is like how I am on this camera. Like, this is just me. Like, I'm a bit, I don't know how to describe myself. I don't know how I describe myself, but like what you see on here is just me. Like, I'm not one of those people who puts on a different front on their social media. Like, I like to share all my highs and lows on here. It's just real me. Like, I come on here, I've not got any makeup on. I don't wear makeup, that's not me. Like, this is just me. So then having people follow along on this journey, and then being able to meet the people who have been following on this journey, and you know, I'm making it out like I've got a big YouTube channel. Literally at the moment my YouTube channel has got like 1,800 subscribers, and like it's 1,800 more than I ever thought I would get, and it's never been about that. As I said, it's just been about documenting my progress. But when I was in Copenhagen the other day, the amount of people who came up to me and who have like watched the video from the Copenhagen video from last year, or who like follow the channel and who were really appreciative of the videos and were saying how it was nice to meet me in real life. Like, someone came up to me and asked me for a photo. Someone messaged me afterwards and was like, oh, I was gonna come up to you but I didn't. Like, it blew my mind. I felt like a celebrity. God knows how like celebrities and actual influencers feel when they go anywhere and like people maybe stop them, because I was like, I'm just me. Like, I'm nothing special at all. But it was the nicest thing. It just felt like I was doing this race with so many like friends and people who were there just to support me, and obviously like people say hi, obviously I'm going to support them and cheer them on, and it just had the nicest atmosphere of any race that I've ever done. And as I said, obviously I vlogged the Copenhagen trip last time, so people have obviously, that video I think has got maybe like 20,000 views, so people have obviously watched that coming into this race, and a lot of people said it has helped them, which is amazing. So I think firstly I just want to say, like, this trip was amazing because I got to meet so many people, so many like-minded people, and people who watch my videos and who were so complimentary of my videos as well. I didn't really know what to say back, and it was just so nice to meet everyone. So if you are someone who came up to say hi, like, that meant the world. I think another thing to add to what I just said then is that like social media gets such a bad reputation, and I feel like social media is only bad if you use it in the wrong way. If you see and use social media as like, if you follow people that don't inspire you, if you follow people that, you know, trigger you in whatever way, if you follow people that make you feel bad about yourself, then that's on you to change that. Now, I'm not saying obviously you might not follow someone, but stuff just comes up on your page, and so some of it, yes, is out of our control, but most of the time how we use social media is completely within our control. And I use social media to follow people who inspire me, who I either look up to, who I see myself getting on with, who, you know, who motivate me. That's how I use social media. And I think a lot of people in the triathlon world, you know, are in that same boat. So it was nice to be able to connect with people that I've met through social media. Like maybe we've chatted like through comments or like on DMs, and people who are doing similar things to you, who want to achieve the same things in life, like who just have the same like passion for something as you do. Like I feel like social media can be such a positive place because it allows you to connect with people, yeah, who get you, who just have the same interest. And I think that was really shown to me this weekend when I got to meet so many people who I've only spoken to on social media. So I think, like I said, social media gets such a bad reputation, but I think it's how we use social media. We can use it for good, or we can use it for bad, and you know, we very much have a choice in how we use social media. And that was just, yeah, that was really special to be able to meet so many people that I've spoken to. Starting with the swim. Now, I was so nervous going into this race. You will have seen my vlog hopefully before this, knowing I was really nervous going into this race for a few reasons. One, I've done it before, so I felt like there was a lot of pressure purely that I put on myself, not pressure from anyone else. But you know, I didn't say it on the vlog, but it's been known between my coach and I, it's been in my training peaks, I wanted to go sub 10 hours in this race. As soon as I finished last year in 10:35, I knew my next goal straight away, sub 10 hours at that race, and I knew that I had it in me. But obviously those doubts, you know, I'm someone that suffers with self-doubt a lot, and those doubts did creep in, and I went into this race just feeling super nervous. I didn't know how I was going to be able to knock that much time off, and I just felt like there was an incredible amount of pressure that I'd put on myself. So I guess that would be the only downside to entering the same race, is that you've got that to compare to, and I felt that was just a lot of pressure. I was incredibly nervous as to how I was going to beat that all time, and also especially going into the swim, a couple of things. Last year I got just under an hour, 59:46 or something like that for the swim. I did not know how I was going to match that this year, because it's so far. It's like 3.8 kilometre swim is so far. When I got down to the swim start to register on the first day, I looked at the course and I was like, oh my god, it's so much further than you think. So in my head I was like, if I've got to average like 1:35 to get an hour, I was like, how am I going to do that? So that was a real doubt in my head. And also, so many people have been talking about the jellyfish, and there's so many jellyfish in the water, and I just have this huge, like, not even this rational fear of jellyfish. So that was, and Gaz was like, but why are you so nervous? I'm like, I don't know why I'm so scared of jellyfish. I just know I really dislike them. I was stung once years and years ago, and like, it's like a nettle sting. It's really not that bad, but they just creep me out. And I was just so nervous going into that swim. But I was less nervous doing the actual swim than the swim practice. I literally did 500 meters and I was like, I'm done, I'm not doing it anymore. So anyway, got into the swim, and obviously the usual pre-race nerves, had a little bit of a cry on the start line. Like, I had my goggles down. I think you can see in the video of me like breathing and just being like, what the hell am I doing? Went to go into the swim, and you can see me like nervously waving at Gaz in the video, and Oh god, yeah, getting into that water, because you just know, like, I always cry before like a big race like that, because you just know how long the day is going to be, like how much pain you're probably going to be in. Got into the water about sort of like 7th or 8th row back, so maybe like 30th, 40th into the water. I was with that front wave. What I found, again, with the swim course, what I discussed with my coach beforehand was I needed to stick with the pack, because last year I found myself very much in no man's land of, like, I wasn't with the people who were over on the left sticking to the buoys, I wasn't with the people over towards the right who were close to the shore. I was kind of just in this no man's land, and I really wanted to make sure, obviously you're going to swim so much faster in a pack and you're going to conserve so much more energy. So I was really trying to be aware of like my surroundings, who I was in the water with, if there was anyone near me, that swimming next to me, that actually I could drop back and sit behind them. But in my head, I knew that the shortest line is, if you swim slightly wider on the course, the shortest line to get to the far buoy is further to the right, but a lot of people swimming over to the left where the buoys are. So again, I found myself a little bit in no man's land, which was annoying. But in my head, I was like, just get to that end buoy, and then when you're on the like sort of left and back, that's when you can find a pack, sit in the pack, which is what I did, and I was dragged along quite nicely. But maybe I sort of not wasted a bit too much energy, but maybe I expended a bit too much energy on the way out. But you know, these are things you learn when you race more, and that's why it's so important to get race experience. On the way back in, I managed to sort of be sat with a pack, which was nice. It just helps you get through the water. You still have to work hard, and if you don't want to lose someone's feet in front of you, if you found someone's feet, and it's hard, if you drift off mentally like the slightest bit, that person can be gone, and you're like, fuck's sake, dropped, like being dropped by that person. So you do have to concentrate an awful lot. What I often experience as well though, which is really frustrating for me, is I often get cramp in swim sessions, even in the pool. Like when I'm doing, you know, it's a 2k swim session, I often get cramp in my calves, and at about 2k my calves and my hamstrings started to cramp, and I was like, oh god, we're about halfway through and I am cramping up already. This isn't a good thing. I mean, I don't kick my legs very much across those longer distances, I just kind of have them floating behind me, so even more so try to not kick my legs too much. But then often when you keep them still, they kind of like seize up when they're in that position, so trying to keep them moving slightly, but I didn't have any sort of power or propulsion from my legs, because I was trying to just save them. So that was really worrying me, because as well I was like, when I get out of the water, my legs just gonna like collapse underneath me. The swim was a bit uneventful. My goggles steamed up at one point, so I lay on my back and like swilled them out, and actually that helped me, because then I realised, as I mentioned before, I hadn't realised that I was actually at the front of a pack and I had a load of people behind me. So as I sort of rolled onto my back, cleared my goggles, rolled back over, a load of people went past me. I was like, perfect, let me sit in behind you guys. They'd been sat behind me, so that actually worked in my favour, because I could not see a thing in my goggles. I couldn't see a thing, so I'm glad I did that. Got out of the water, bang on an hour and 12 seconds was my time, average 1:35 per 100, which I was really happy with. I wanted to come in around the hour mark. I mean, you're not gonna make or break your race in the swim, so to come in, you know, I was what, 30 seconds slower than last year, but that's, you know, whatever. 6th in my age group, 12th female, 138th overall for my swim, so that's good. Transition, pretty uneventful. I drank my electrolytes, I just swigged them down, try and get some salt in, because my legs, as I said, were cramping. Shoved all my nutrition in my tri-suit. I feel like moving forward, I need some faster transitions, and I need a better solution for my nutrition in terms of having more on the bike, so I have to faff less in transition, because I do have to faff quite a lot in transition with putting stuff in my pockets and all that sort of stuff, which that can definitely be better. So yeah, that was all pretty seamless. Had my normal wee in my wetsuit. Important to have a wee before you go on the bike, so it's harder to wee on the bike. So got onto the bike. I'm not gonna lie, I felt awful. I really did not feel good, and again, I think it was the doubts in my head going into the swim, which was, you know, this is such a long way, like, am I going to be able to complete this? That very much became apparent when I got on the bike, and I was like, oh my god, it's 180 kilometers. You know, I've been doing quite a lot of work on the bike. Gaz and I went to Mallorca recently, and we did a couple of like 130, 140 kilometer rides. It's the most I've ever spent out on my bike. A lot of my training last year was done on my watt bike, so that, I know I'm confident on the bike, but when it's 180 kilometers, it's so far. And then my legs were still feeling really like crampy coming off the swim, so they just felt a little bit dead, and that was just playing on my mind. That was really like stressing me out. I was like, if my legs feel like this the whole way, there's no way that I'm gonna have a good race. I had a gel, I then had a saurine bar as well. I was quite hungry, and so maybe my fueling the day before, which I know it wasn't good enough, fueling the day before wasn't good enough, fueling on the morning probably not enough. That sort of says to me, if I felt shit on the bike so early on, that's probably the reason why. Anyway, settled into it, so happy I settled into it and felt fine. Stuck to my plan in terms of aid stations, so didn't grab anything at the first one. At the second one, stopped my bottles. I never had to actually stop. I managed to do it all on the go, which I'm really happy with. I practiced that quite a lot in other races, so that was all super like seamless. Managed to have a couple of wheeze on my bike as well, so again, like, all comes with practice. So I think once I got that first 30 to 40k done, I think mentally that's just a really nice, like, just taking that initial distance off, just getting a chunk done. I kind of break it down in my head as like 30 kilometers at the start, sort of like two 60k loops in the middle, and then the last 30k, whilst it's, you know, that last 30k drags, it's only 30k, it's only like less than an hour of riding, so you can kind of break that down. But just getting through that 30k was a real like, right, cool, that's done, we're in, we're settled, we're good. I felt good on my bike, my tri-suit felt good, it felt comfortable, everything just, yeah, felt good. But I did find I was quite hungry on the bike, so I was speaking to my coach earlier, I had over 400 grams of carbs on the bike, so over 80 grams of carbs an hour, and I could have definitely taken on more, 100%. I had about 50, 100, 140, 160 grams of carbs in solids, and I had 6 40-gram gels, so that's 240, so yeah, about 400 grams of carbs. I had just over 4 litres of water, probably could have had a little bit more, all with electrolytes in. I could have had a little bit more fuel, I would say. You really do forget how much you do need, and I can obviously tolerate eating more, which is great. So, but yeah, there were times on the bike where I did feel quite hungry. So anyway, the weather conditions were perfect. The swim was flat as anything, there was no wind, no rain, it wasn't overly sunny, like the conditions, like I don't think you could get better conditions, so that was perfect. I mean, the course is beautiful, lovely rolling, there's some beautifully fast parts like going through these like woods. It's a beautiful course, and it was quite lonely for me for the first, I would say, 50-60k, because, you know, there's like, because I come out the water quite early on, and maybe I'm one of the faster girls, there's no real girls around, and all these men are just flying past you, because obviously the men are so strong on the bike, so it does feel quite lonely. And then I caught up with a girl who found out later on she doesn't live too far from me, so like when I passed her, sort of like said hi, and we chatted a little bit, said hi, and then I sort of sorted in front of her, and then after a while she sort of came past me, and it was a bit like cat and mouse the whole way. I'd overtake, she'd overtake, so that was nice. It just gave you something to like focus on, like she was up ahead, so I was like, well, don't let her get out of sight, sort of thing. So that, I found that was really helpful, because otherwise it's kind of like, well, these fast men are coming past me, and they're just flying past me, they're getting out of sight anyway, and then you can kind of find yourself drifting off, whereas it gave me a bit of a focus, so that was good. And then on the way back in, a bit of a headwind coming back in, but it wasn't awful. The drafting on the course, and like, this isn't, I was speaking to my coach about this before, this isn't an athlete issue, this is an Ironman organisation issue, because of the amount of athletes they pack onto the courses. You'll just see, I mean, don't get me wrong, some people do it on purpose, some people do it to cheat. There were just times on the course where there was no other option, but you had to be sat behind someone, because if someone passed you, you tried to sort of freewheel a bit to let the gap, there become a gap, so you're not drafting, and then someone can pass you and just slot straight in. And that's a bit frustrating. With drafting, like I said, you know, I do not want to cheat. Like, for me, it's, in any event you do, what's the point in cheating? Like, if you've put in the work and you want to get a fair time and you want a race result that shows off where you're currently at and, you know, an accurate representation of what you have done, what's the point in cheating? And some people are probably out there, you know, oh, this is going to make my ride easy, I'm going to draft behind this guy. And some people are trying to stay out of the drafting zone. And it's, yeah, it was really difficult. There were too many people on the course. I don't know, loads of people with the same ability. I don't know what the issue is there. Probably too many people on the course and not enough course. But especially as you're coming into the final 30-ish K, sort of straight back into town, the pelotons of people, like everyone to the TT bars, just all flying past you. And it just, yeah, it blew my mind a little bit. So yeah, there were times that it was inevitable that you were gonna draft, because even if you try to freewheel and sit back, then someone's gonna set in and that's gonna impact your race. So it's, yeah, it was a really difficult one, sort of in that last 30K. Anyway, it's one of those things, and I don't think that will ever change with Ironman, because ultimately Ironman want to make as much money as possible. Yeah, that was frustrating, but it's one of those things. So, was really on it with my fueling. Towards the end, as always, I kind of drifted off with where I was at with my fueling. It's really easy to lose focus, and that's why it's probably a good idea to like write it on the back of your hand, or have it just stuck to your handlebars, like at 30 minutes this gel, at 1 hour this bar, and have it all written down. I didn't. I was just like, I'm gonna go on the half hour and on the hour, but then I kind of fell out of that routine and just sort of just kept taking on fuel because I was starving. So that's something for me to work on for sure. My fueling could be better. You know what, something that's really annoying, when I finished the whole race, went to go save the triathlon on my watch, and it's on my watch but it will not pull through onto my Strava. I've tried plugging my watch in, I've tried everything. You can comment different options. I have tried everything and it will not come off my watch onto my phone. And it's really annoying, because when you want to look at all the stats and the power and your heart rate and your paces, I can't see any of it. So nothing, there's nothing there. I've got obviously the Ironman data, which is all, you know, pretty accurate, it's fine. Came back into town and I was really happy to be done with the bike, because the last 30K towards the end, it wasn't like I wasn't tired in terms of like aerobically or anything like that, but just from sitting on the saddle, the like not even chafing, just the pressure on sitting on the saddle. And I don't know if it's my saddle issue, if it's a positioning issue. I'm still getting used to the positioning on my bike, it's still quite a new bike. A few things I need to adjust, but like that's what you learn from racing. So all in all, beautiful course, a few like short sharp climbs, but it was rolling through the beautiful countryside. Support was amazing, people on the course were lovely. Like I was at one point I rode next to a lovely German girl who was in the age group above me, and also a French girl, and like the German girl next to me was just like, oh, we're almost done, like we've only got a marathon left. And like it's just, I just love, like I always chat to people on the course. That's something I always do. Even if I just sit next to them for like 10 seconds, whatever, as I'm passing or as they're passing me, I will always make an effort to say hi or whatever. Like that's what it's all about, like encouraging people. Like when I went past this girl called Jessica the first time, like, how you doing, like how you finding it? And then the same when she passed me. Like I just think that's what it's all about, or that's what I do anyway. I just think that makes the time go a little bit quicker as well. Just try to distract myself. So anyway, was happy to be coming back into town. Knew I only had the marathon left, so it was good. I was happy to come back into town. So getting off that bike was such a relief. I was starting to get a bit of stomach pains, just because I needed a wee. Came into transition, was so relieved to get off my bike. Yeah, you hand your bike to the volunteers there, they go rack it for you, which is amazing. Went to my T2 bag, which was all fine and there, ready to go. Put my trains on and then went straight to the little, got my nutrition now, went straight to the loo and went for a wee and tied my laces up at the same time. I thought like 2 birds, 1 stone. So, you know, wasted maybe 2 minutes, but I thought I needed a wee so bad, and had I not gone for a wee the whole marathon, I would have been thinking, I need a wee, like, is this slowing me down? Like, I feel heavy. Like, it was, for me, it was worth it for the 2 minutes that it would have taken. I think it would have saved me a lot of time on the course. Transition was pretty smooth. I didn't wear my elastic laces, I wore my normal laces, because just for comfort over anything, I just think that that's a much better idea. The elastic laces just absolutely kill my feet. They just, like, I think they're just, because they're just so tight, they give me pins and needles and make my feet really hot. So they're a no from me. What next? Run. So what I always say and what's really important, and I think if there's anything you take away from this video, is this: when you get onto the run, you have to ignore how you're feeling. And that's exactly what I said to Gaz. Got out on the run and he's like, how are you feeling? I was like, I'm not thinking about it right now, like I'm ignoring how I'm feeling, because if I knew if I thought too much about how I was feeling, because let's face it, how are you going to feel after 180 kilometers on the bike? How's anyone going to feel? We all know we're probably going to feel a bit shit, a bit tired, bit heavy, bit lethargic, bit can't be arsed. So you have to learn to switch off from that and ignore how you're feeling. And I think that's a lot of Ironman training as well. You have to ignore how you're feeling, the emotion side of things, and just focus on doing, like focus on moving, putting one foot in front of the other. And with my run, I was like, I just need to settle into this, I just need to get moving. And I know that obviously from previous races as well, when I came onto the run in Portugal, I remember at the age group Europeans, I was in the first kilometre, I was like, I'm not gonna be able to do this. I am going to have to DNF, because there's no way if I feel like this the whole way around I can finish. But once you get past that initial sort of, I would say 3 to 4K, and you settle into it, you feel completely different. So I think it's so important to not think about how you're feeling and just do. Just whatever you've practiced, just do. And I think you'll always settle into it. How else are you gonna feel after 180 kilometers on the bike? Like, really shit. Got onto the run and yeah, felt all right after the first 5K. Settled in between like 4:45 and 4:55, which is where in my head around that sort of 4:50 pace is a comfortable pace for me, and I wanted to hold that for as long as possible. In the back of my mind, I knew I wouldn't be able to hold that for the whole marathon, but I knew I was able to hold that for a good amount of time coming off the bike, which I did. It was my pace was like, I was like, I am pacing queen today, because it was like bouncing around between 4:45 and 4:55 for the first 20 kilometers. First half marathon in 1 hour and 41 minutes, which I was absolutely made up with for a couple of reasons. I was on track to do so much better than I did the year before. Last year I did 3:54 on the marathon, so unless I royally messed up the second half of the marathon, I knew I was going to absolutely smash that time. But also at that point I'd kind of done the maths in my head to figure out where I was in terms of if I was going to come in sub 10. Worked out that I had approximately, well, just under 2 hours, maybe like 1 hour and 58 to complete the second half, to come under 10 hours. So in my head I was like, Laura, you can run a 2-hour half marathon. You can do it, easy, you can absolutely do it. So then my pace by that point has sort of dropped between like 5:05 and 5:20. I did quite a lot of kilometers sort of ticking off at 5:15, and I kept telling to myself, just keep moving at this pace and you'll get the half marathon in like 1:50, which will bring you in sub 10 hours. So I just, at that point, when I got to maybe the last, you know, I felt great up to about 33K. When I got to about the last sort of 8 or 9K, that's when I was like, just keep moving, one foot in front of the other. That's when it got to that point of like, not hit a wall, because I hadn't hit a wall, like there was still something left in the tank, but I really had to dig deep in those last sort of 8K. Whereas when I did it last year, it was kind of like I had to dig deep for the last 25K. So I know my fitness has improved so much because that sort of wall, not wall, came a lot later. When I got to the last 10K, I was like, right, you've got an hour to do this 10K. You know you can absolutely smash that. So I kept, like, every time I ticked a kilometre off, I was like, banked some time, I banked some more time. So that was a nice confidence boost. So yeah, that was all I was thinking about towards the end. I was like, just get that sub 10 hours. I hadn't let myself think about the sub 10 hours up until that point, and that's when it started to become real, and I started to believe that I could go sub 10 hours, because yeah, up to that point, as much as it was like a dream to go sub 10 hours, it wasn't something that I believed I could do. Coming out onto the run course, the support, like I said last year, the support was amazing. This year, the support was something else. Like, the crowds were just insane. And if you're looking for an Ironman to do, I'd 100% recommend Copenhagen, because I should be like an ambassador for Copenhagen Ironman, because the people are so friendly, the crowds are incredible. Gaz was saying as well, I think it might have been in the last video, like he was really struggling to sort of get around to different points of the course just because of how busy it was, and like the crossing zones were quite busy. It was just carnage. There were so many spectators, so much support, and as well, again, on the run, like again, people who maybe watch the channel, or like people who watch the channel, like their families who they'd maybe told them or shown them like a picture of me on my YouTube channel, people, like random people, like saying like, watch your channel, like keep going. And I was like, I'm literally like this girl who has a really small YouTube channel, and people are being so supportive and so kind. The support was just incredible. Came around to like the last 5k, in my head, only a park run to go, because that's what my mum always says, like when you get to the end, just remember you've only got a park run to go. And I'm like, that's like the worst thing, because as much as you know it's only a park run, only a 5k, like 5k seems so far when you've done a 3.8k swim, 180k on the bike, and you've already done 37 kilometers on the run, and you've got just a park run to go. It's definitely not just a park run. Really tried to just stay focused. Coming up to that final stretch and coming into the finishing area, and you could hear the music and you could hear the crowds, like you just get this overwhelming like sensation of, oh, I don't know, just pride and just emotion, just all the emotions of everything that you know has gone into this race. And I don't think that will ever change, whether it's your first Ironman, your second or your 10th. I don't think that ever changes, because it's so hard. Like it's such a hard thing to do, and we're all bloody mad. I don't know why we do it, but it's so hard, and I don't think that emotion ever changes, because I was coming down that finish line and I just felt so overwhelmed with emotion, and I was so proud, but I was also in so much pain. I was on the verge of cramping for the whole of that run, for the entire run. And Gaz was like, that's when you know you're pushing to your absolute limit. That's when you know you have left it all out there. And that's exactly what I did. I left it all out there. There was nothing more I could have given to that race. I literally crossed the finish line, and I've never been so happy to stop running in my life. Like, you know that feeling, like, oh, I could just stop running. Like that was so overwhelmingly strong, and I dropped to my knees and just cried. I was just so emotional, because like I've just gone sub 10 hours on an Ironman. Like, what the hell? I remember looking at the girls last year when I got my 10:35, which I was so proud of. I mean, even just finishing an Ironman is just unbelievable. When I got 10:35 last year, and I looked at some of the girls who were sort of in the 9-hour mark, I was like, how the hell does anyone ever go sub 10 hours? Like, what the hell? And to come in at 9:53, I was like, that's just madness. My time for the bike, which I forgot to say before, time for the bike was 5 hours, 11 minutes and 46 seconds. 11th in my age group, 30th female, 700th overall. My run time came in at 3 hours and 32 minutes, bang on. 12th in my age group, 17th female, 333rd overall. And yeah, that left me with an overall time of 9 hours, 53 minutes and 50 seconds. Which is just madness. My age group this year was so strong, like so strong, and you can't control who's going to show up on race day. You could put together your best ever race and get an hour's PB, and you know, you could have 10 girls who are so much stronger than you in your age group beat you. And I think Gaz said at the end, I think it was like the Danish national champs or something along those lines. So I came 11th female overall, but 7th in my age group. So 7 of us in that top 11 were in my age group, obviously 6 of them ahead of me. So it's one of those things. One day, as I've said before, one day I'll get on the Ironman podium. Putting that out there, I will get on the Ironman age group podium. The other day wasn't my day, and that's fine. I still came out with an incredible PB, and those girls who, I think the winning girl got like 9 hours 6 minutes, like, go on girl, that's insane. So really happy for her, and yeah, really proud of myself. I couldn't have done anything more. So then the next day, went down to the award ceremony anyway, because I wanted to see if I had got a slot. Now, a few people have already asked me about this. Initially it was just a qualifier for World Champs in Nice. But then I think more recently they added on that it was also a qualifier for Kona 2025. Thinking about it, like, it's Ironman. Like, they want any opportunity to get as much money as they can. So if they offer, you can either go to Nice or you can go to Kona next year, they know they're going to make more money, because if people don't want to go to Nice, they're just gonna have to wait and try and qualify another race maybe, but why not just take that money from them now? So anyway, it was a qualifier for both. So we went down to the award ceremony because if someone in my age group doesn't take a slot, it would have rolled down to me. So, I mean, it depends. Every race is different in terms of the slots that they give out. Every age group is different. Usually in like the 65 to 69 age group, there's like one qualifying slot, maybe like the, you know, the 50s plus, I think there's usually like one qualifying slot per age group, just because there's less people in those age groups. And similarly, I think maybe like the 18 to 24, maybe there's only 3 slots. But in that sort of middle block of like 25 to maybe 40, 45, they usually give like 5 or 6 qualifying slots. Like the 30 to 34 and 35 to 39, I think, are probably the 2 biggest age groups. They're going to give out, obviously, more slots. So they're awarding 6 female slots in the in my age group. Now, I have always said, now, how do I put this? When it comes to qualifying for Kona, I think last year, had I gone to the award ceremony, I probably could have got a slot that had rolled down to me. However, I only want to go to World Championships if, how do I put this? Because, as I said, like, finishing an Ironman is incredible. This is all relative to me. This isn't saying a certain time is good and a certain time is bad. This is all personal to me and my ability and what I am capable of. I only want to go to Kona if I think I have done a respectable enough performance and got a respectable enough time to go there. I don't want to just get a slot because it's rolled down to me. That's me personally. Some people just want to go for the experience, and some people just want to go and race in Kona, and you do that. Like, that is amazing. And as I said, even to complete an Ironman and then to go to do the challenging course that's in Kona, like, that in itself is unreal. But for me, going to a World Championships, for me, I want to go and be competitive at a World Champs. I don't want to just show up and make up numbers. Yeah, I don't want to just show up. Does that make sense? Oh, I don't want to, personally, for me, I don't want to show up and just make up numbers. I want to show up and be competitive up there with some of the girls. And I'm not saying I'm going to go to Kona and win it. Like, there are some unbelievably talented girls, and I've got so much work to do to get up nearer those top 3 slots, and it's work I'm willing to do. But I want to be competitive. I want to go out there and be up there. So I only wanted to accept a slot if it got rolled down to me. I only wanted to accept it if I felt that my performance was worthy of getting a slot. So and that sub 10 hour mark, I think for me personally, that is something I am proud of and would be willing to go to Kona for. Does that make sense? Anyway, I'm gonna carry on. So went to the award ceremony, and it was just nice to do that anyway, and just like clap for everyone. And like some of the age groups, like people in the like 65 to 69 age group, like some of the men doing like 10 hours. I'm like, this is just fucking mad. They're just incredible. So just applauding them and just being around them was the best thing. Went there, and when you get there, you have to register your interest to qualify for the World Champs. And obviously for the females, you could say if it was Nice or say if it was Kona. So I went and gave my number, told them, because you have to basically tell them you're here and not interested in qualifying. Otherwise you'd be there for hours, because they'd be like, oh, first place so and so, do you want to go? Is she here? Where is she? No, second place, are you here? Like, so rather than doing that, it just saves them time. So I gave them my name, and then obviously someone either has already qualified in my age group, so doesn't need to accept another slot, or maybe didn't want to go for whatever reason. Obviously it's a huge commitment going to Kona, like both financially and just physically. It's a hell of a big commitment, so some people don't want to go, and that's cool. So yeah, they announced my name and said I got a slot for Kona, which is just mad. When I first started triathlon, like, that just seemed so far away, and it just seemed like something I would never achieve, and the fact that I've just got a slot to go to the World Championships in Kona is just madness. Yeah, it still blows my mind, and it's still not sunk in, and I'm gonna cherish this coin. I think it just symbolises sort of just how far I've come in this like triathlon game, and I know I've still got so much more to give. I had a really great conversation with my coach this morning about sort of where we're at, sort of reviewing how training went this past year, and we both agreed on we didn't give my run as much focus as we could have done, because I was doing quite a lot of high rocks at the beginning of the year, so a lot of my interval based sessions were just kind of high roxy style sessions, so there wasn't really specific hard run sessions that I did, and we also didn't have much time to build my long run, so we've got a lot of room to build my long run and also get faster, and I know I can get faster. I know that I can knock another 10 or so minutes off that marathon, more than I know that I've got it in me to go sub 5 hours on the bike, and you know, this will all take time. This isn't me being like, right, next season I'm gonna do this. Like, it might take a couple of years, but it's just really exciting, and I just love pushing myself. Just weird. Hopefully that kind of covers my personal race review and how I felt. Oh, also another thing, the tri-suit. Someone asked me to review the tri-suit. I wore a new tri-suit, the Tri-Fit Athletic, which was super comfortable. I felt like the legs were just nice and compression-y and just kept everything nice and tight. The upper body, I felt it was wide enough for my shoulders. I've got quite wide shoulders, but the only issue was the pocket in the back. So I was literally like 10k into my run, and I went to go and get another gel out, because I'd put 3 in my pocket at the back, and then I'd put 3 in a personal needs bag to get halfway around the course. Went to go get my second gel out, and there was nothing in my back pocket, and obviously because you can access the pocket from both sides, it had fallen out. So went to go get a gel, and there was nothing there. I had to rely on the aid stations, the gels in the aid stations, which is fine. They were Morton ones, I've used them a few times, there's no issue. But that was a bit frustrating, because I was like, where's my gels gone? And also those like Cliff blocks, they'd fallen out as well, and that was all a bit frustrating. Because when I did the first lap, I went to go to the second lap, and I saw a similar gel, like the gels that I was using on the floor. I was like, oh, someone's dropped that, it's a shame. And then realised that was probably mine. So anyway, it's one of those things. Yeah, would recommend the tri-suit, but I think they've got other tri-suits with different pocket styles and different styles, so maybe that's an older style, and maybe that's something that they're improving on. I don't know, but anyway, that's my review on that, and I think that concludes my race review of Ironman Copenhagen. Here's my medal, and here's my World Championship coin, and I can't wait. I cannot wait to vlog the whole process leading up to Kona. I'm so excited to vlog that prep, because speaking to my coach this morning, like, I know I can improve so much more. I know there's so much more that I can give, and I'm really excited to do that and really like achieve my potential. And the build up to Kona is going to be really exciting, really special. Like, next season it's going to be great, so I'm excited to bring you all along on that journey with me. If you want to join, that would be really great. So yeah, please do remember to subscribe to the channel, to like this video. If you did the race, comment, like, if we met, comment. Like, it's just, as I said, social media can be a really great thing, and I love like hearing all your stories of the race and how you got on, so please do. Hope everyone who did the race is recovering well. I'm taking this whole week off. Like, I had a few days in Copenhagen, we ate, we drank. I'm still so sore. Like, I am the most sore than I've ever been after this race than any other race, and it really shows what I gave to the race. So I'm proud of that. Like, there was nothing more I could have given, but I was waddling around. Like, yesterday and the day before, the waddling was real. Today's a bit better, but I'm still a bit sore. My toenails, oh my god, the blister under my big toe and the toe next to it, horrendous. And I popped out this morning and the stuff that shot out of it from under my toenail, that was disgusting. And I've literally just recently got all my toenails back, like grown back, nicely pedicured, and now I'm gonna lose 2 more nails, so that's really annoying. But anyway, thank you for watching. I'm gonna stop rambling now. I hope I didn't miss anything out. If I did, if you've got any questions, please just pop them in the comments below. And yeah, let's go to Kona. Let's vlog going to Kona, get along the winter of training, getting strong and powerful across the winter, building a solid base, ready to build to Kona next year. And yeah, let's do it. Eek, let's go.
We're going to go now.